G'day guys, we've got a new project on our hands here, a F30 3 Series 328i. It's got the N20 engine, the 2-litre turbo, and we're just going to give this one a bit of a freshen up, which is going to be an engine rebuild with some forged internals and a slightly bigger turbo with a custom tune. So it's just at the beginning stages here, and we're going to quickly run through some of the parts that we're going to put in this engine, and then we might just run it up and see what a power run is at the start, so that we've got something to go off when we finish the job. So just over here to our basic parts laid out. Starting at the business end here, we've got some forged pistons custom made with well, an unknown compression ratio according to this chart, but we'll confirm that before we begin. I think it's about 10 to 1. Got some forged rods here made by Max Speeding, and they should just ensure good reliability. We're not going to run a huge amount of boost in this thing, but we just want it to have good reliability and longevity. And which brings us to another thing. This is an N20 engine here. We're going to tear this one down and rebuild it as well, but they've got an Alisil an Alisil liner in it, which means you can't really bore them or resurface them. So we're going to reline this with steel liners, and well, this one over here actually, but one of these engines with steel liners, and that'll give us the ability to service the engine and freshen up the cylinder walls so that the new rings that comes with these pistons can bed in and ensure a good seal. We've got some pipes here to put on it, a catch can. We've got some ACL race bearings which will go in. We've got some mains coming for those, some new timing gear, chains, guides, oil pressure line feed, and this is our turbo, which is basically a factory replica, but it's been high flowed and slightly bigger internals to allow more flow at lower boost, which will give us better numbers on higher boost and won't exceed its efficiency. And just some other goodies in here like gaskets and bits and pieces. The head gasket, it's a Cooper ring style, so as you can see it's got floating fire rings here, and just your normal carbon with silicon liner there for your jacket sealing. But I don't know if you can see on the video, but these rings are like a W sort of style ring that have multiple peaks. That will crush into the head and the block to ensure a really good seal, and that stops boost leaking through between cylinders, and just gives a more sure seal than a standard type fire ring. So yeah, let's run this thing up and see what it makes as is, and that'll give us a bit of a baseline for when we finish the project and see what our differences are. So this is the cockpit view of an F30. Quite modern. BMW make a nice thing these days. We're running an 8 HP auto gearbox. We've got paddles for gear shifting on that if we like. Bring up some lights there so we can see. So pretty nice dash on these things. Anyone who owns one of these must love them. They're a very nimble car to drive, and I think the idea of a 4-cylinder is what appeals to a lot of people rather than going to the big 6 cylinders. Yeah, so we'll let this thing warm up for a few minutes and we'll perform a run. Yeah, so that's a pretty standard run. I think it's got a basic boot mod tune in this thing at the moment because it's running a downpipe and a cold air intake system, but I don't think it's anything much above stock. So yeah, as you saw on the video, we've come up to about 185 kilowatts at the wheels. You can see the fueling is pretty well 12-to-1 flat all the way through, so very clean tune on this thing at the moment. And yeah, let's just flick over real quick to the torque curve. Okay, so the torque here is this one here, and you can see we're pretty flat from probably about 3 to 5,000 there. Looks to be about 260 Newton meters. So we'll see what that comes up to later. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned, and we'll show you the engine going together of this thing, or coming apart first and going back together. And then we'll put it back in and see what it does. Cheers.